The ballroom glittered with gold and crystal, every chandelier blazing like a crown above the city's most powerful people, and Alexander Crown, CEO of Crown International, sat at the center of it all with the calm, controlled confidence of a man who owned rooms like this without ever raising his voice, his tailored suit fitting him like armor as executives, investors, and social elites laughed around him, unaware that tonight was meant to be his final public appearance, because hidden behind the silk tablecloths and polished smiles was a plan set in motion weeks ago, one designed to end his life quietly, elegantly, and without scandal, and the only person who noticed was Lily, a 23-year-old waitress who had been invisible her entire life, moving through luxury spaces like a ghost, carrying trays of crystal glasses while listening to conversations that could buy and sell nations, her hands steady despite the weight of bills, family debts, and a sick mother waiting at home. And it was Lily who noticed the smallest detail that no one else did, the way a man at the bar switched 2 glasses with a subtle flick of his wrist, the way his eyes never left Alexander, the way his smile never reached his eyes, and Lily's heart began to pound so loudly she was sure the guests could hear it over the orchestra, because she had seen poison before, not in movies, but in real life, when her father, a chemist, had died after trusting the wrong person, and instinct screamed at her that the clear liquid in Alexander's glass was not what it seemed, and as she approached the table with practiced politeness, her mind raced through consequences. If she spoke, she could lose her job, be sued, or worse, but if she stayed silent, a man would die in front of her and she would carry that guilt forever. So with trembling fingers, she did the only thing she could think of, tearing a small piece of order paper, scribbling 6 words with a pen borrowed from her apron, and as Alexander lifted the glass toward his lips, Lily leaned in as if adjusting a napkin and slipped the folded note into his free hand, her whisper barely louder than breath. "Please, read it," and time seemed to slow as Alexander's sharp eyes flicked to the paper, his jaw tightening as he unfolded it and read, "Don't drink it. Leave now," and in that split second, he didn't laugh, didn't dismiss her, didn't wave her away like everyone else did. Instead, he froze, studying her face with the precision of a man who survived boardroom wars and hostile takeovers, seeing not hysteria, not greed, but raw fear and absolute certainty. And then he did something no one expected, something that sent a ripple through the air. He set the glass down, slowly, deliberately, and grabbed Lily's wrist, not roughly, but firmly, grounding her, his voice low and calm as he said, "Why?" And Lily's throat tightened because she hadn't planned this part, hadn't imagined the most powerful man in the room would listen to her, and yet here he was, eyes locked on hers, demanding the truth, and she whispered back, "Because someone wants you dead, and they're watching." And Alexander didn't hesitate another second, rising from his chair, still holding her hand as murmurs erupted around them, his security team stepping forward instinctively. But Alexander raised a single finger, a silent command that had stopped billion-dollar deals, and he leaned closer to Lily, his voice steel-hard now, "You're coming with me." And as they moved toward the exit, Lily's knees threatened to give out, the room blurring with panic and adrenaline, because the man from the bar was already moving, his smile gone, his hand slipping into his jacket, and chaos exploded as Alexander's head of security noticed him too late, shouts echoing, guests screaming, glasses shattering, and Lily felt herself pulled behind Alexander as guards tackled the men, a small vial clattering across the marble floor, its contents spilling like water but smelling sharply chemical, and in that moment, Lily understood how close death had been, how thin the line was between power and helplessness, and as they burst into the night air, sirens wailing in the distance, Alexander finally released her hand, only to place his jacket around her shoulders, his voice softer now, almost incredulous, "You saved my life," and Lily shook her head, tears streaking her cheeks. "I just did what was right." But Alexander studied her like a puzzle he intended to solve, because in his world, loyalty was bought, silence was paid for, and courage like hers was rare. And over the following days, as investigations unfolded and names were exposed, partners, rivals, men he had trusted, Alexander insisted Lily stay under his protection, not as a servant, not as a charity case, but as someone whose instincts he trusted more than any executive report. And late one night, sitting across from him in a quiet office overlooking the city, Lily confessed her past, her father, her fear, her choice, and Alexander listened, truly listened, and when she finished, he leaned back and said the words that changed her life forever, "The world is run by people who see danger and look away. I need people who see it and act, and he offered her a position, not as a waitress, but as an internal risk analyst trainee, training paid, education covered, her future rewritten by a single brave decision. And Lily realized that night that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's a folded piece of paper slipped into a stranger's hand. And as the story spread, without her name, without her face, viewers around the world would later ask themselves what they would do in her place, whether they would stay silent or speak up. And if this story moved you, inspired you, or made your heart race even for a moment, remember that more powerful stories are coming. Stories about courage, sacrifice, and hidden strength. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because sometimes one decision can change everything, and the next story might change the way you see the world.